another episode of Positive Solutions for Life. I'm your host, Peggy Meyer, and today we're diving into one of the most powerful and sometimes challenging topics of all, love. Not the kind of love we see in movies or on greeting cards, but the kind of love God calls us to, the kind that fulfills his greatest commandments. In Matthew 22, verses 37 through 39, Jesus tells us, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. It sounds simple, doesn't it? But when we stop and think about what that really means to love God, love others, and love ourselves, it's a daily practice that calls for awareness, humility, and grace. So let's start with that first part, loving God. How do we love God with all our heart, soul, and mind? Sometimes we think loving God just means going to church, reading scriptures, or saying our prayers. Those things are really important and they're part of our relationship with Him. But love, real love, is deeper than that duty. Think of any relationship. It thrives on time, attention, and trust. Loving God means including Him in the big and small moments of your life, not just the Sunday morning ones. Or for me, Saturday evenings. Maybe it's saying, thank you, Lord, for the sunrise on your way to work or on your morning walk. Maybe it's talking to Him when you're frustrated instead of bottling it up or lashing out. Maybe it's trusting His plan even when you don't understand it. When we invite God into our everyday, our errands, our worries, our joys, our work, our chores, that's loving Him with our whole being. The second commandment Jesus gives us is to love your neighbor as yourself. That sounds beautiful, but let's be honest. Sometimes our neighbors can be difficult to love. Love, as God defines it, isn't based on how someone treats you. It's about reflecting His character because God is love. Love isn't always this grand gesture. Sometimes it's the smallest things that mean the most. Think about it. A smile to a stranger who looks weary, a kind word to a coworker who's struggling, listening, really listening to your child or your spouse when you're busy and tired. Love slows life down. Love takes time. Love says, I see you. You matter. Too often, we equate love with doing. We work long hours, we provide, we plan, and yes, those things are acts of care, but often the other person doesn't feel love through your busyness. They feel love through your presence. If you're always in a rush, you might miss the quiet signs that someone near you just needs to be seen, heard, or held. In 1 Corinthians 13, we read, love is patient. Love is kind. Patience and kindness are two words that sound simple, but they take a lot of real effort. Love is patient when you let your child tie their own shoes, even though you could do it better or faster. Love is kind when you offer grace instead of judgment to a friend who's made a mistake. Love is patient when you bite your tongue in traffic or with that family member who always pushes your buttons. These moments test us, but they also teach us. They teach us to love more like God did, with gentleness, not frustration, with compassion, not criticism. True love doesn't pretend everything is perfect. Love rejoices with the truth. That means being honest, even when it's uncomfortable, both with others and with yourself. Love says, I care enough about this relationship to be real honest, to be trustworthy, truthfully saying what it is you need to say. That could be admitting when you've hurt somebody or have the courage to set a healthy boundary. It could also mean being honest about your own needs and not settling for less than the love God designed for you. Truth and love go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. And here's the part that many of us forget. Love your neighbor as yourself. So often we focus so much on others that we forget the as yourself part. How do you love yourself? You can't pour from an empty cup. So how do you show love to you? Sometimes that might look like rest. Sometimes it's forgiving. Forgiving yourself, letting go of the guilt or shame you've been carrying around, that baggage, that heavy backpack that you've been carrying around. Sometimes it's taking time to pray, to journal, go on a walk, or just breathe. Self-love isn't selfish. It's stewardship. It's caring for the life God gave you. And just as every person experiences love differently, your needs change too. I know mine do. Some days, love looks like solitude, being by yourself. Other days, it's connection. You need to be with others. You need to experience love with each other. Some days, it's encouragement. You need to lift me up. Somebody needs to, you need that. You need to go out and ask for some encouragement, a compliment, appreciation. And other days, it's accountability. You need somebody to say, hey, get with it. Do what you say you're going to do. God designed us to need both, to give and receive love in many different forms. So as we wrap up, Paul reminds us in 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 14, let all you do be done in love. That means every word, every task, every thought, infuse it with the spirit of love. Imagine if we all lived that way. If every action, from the way we greet people to how we handle conflict to how we talk to ourselves, came from love. That's what fulfills God's commandment. That's what transforms relationships, homes, workplaces, and hearts. And that's what can transform us from the inside out. So this week, I invite you to reflect on these questions. How are you loving God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind? How are you loving your neighbor? And how are you loving yourself? Remember, love doesn't have to be perfect. Love just needs to be present.